Okay, this is take two. Hopefully I won't miss anything this time. Uh, because I'll forget what I did last time. But I want to cover this because it's a case within the last last 2.5 years or so, I guess. I had just heard about it. Literally just got done watching True Crime Mysteries video on it on YouTube. And this is about Heidi Broussard being murdered. That's Broussard. And the person that did it, because it's not a mystery, if you look up one of them's name, you'll find the other one. I mean, it's that. So it's not something that, that might be why nobody's covered it. I don't know. But Magen Fieramusca, Fieramusca. So we're going to call the murder victim Heidi, and the woman that murdered her, Magen. Okay. I know that I mentioned last video, so I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. They were best friends, okay? Which makes me sick because my best friend died a little less than 2 years ago now, okay? We had been friends since the 1990s. She passed away in 2020. I could never kill her. She could never kill me. This is just despicable. This happened in Austin, Texas. It didn't take long for Magen to be a suspect. That's why it's not a mystery. You know, and a lot of it's not known yet. That might be another reason why it's not covered, because it's just now going through the court system, because she was indicted right before the shutdowns of 2020 to keep it algorithmic friendly. So Magen murdered Heidi and kidnapped her newborn, Margot Carey, in 2019, December 2019. And by January she had been indicted, so it's pretty quick. Heidi was only 33 years old. Heidi and her daughter Margot were reported missing from the Austin area in December of 2019 after Heidi dropped off her 6-year-old son at Cowan Elementary School. Heidi and her baby had returned home where their belongings were found before being kidnapped. The police tracked Magen to a house in Houston after identifying her as the prime suspect, and it didn't take long for them to identify her. Now, like I said, there's not a lot known about the case. That might be why it's not been covered a lot yet, because it's still going through trial and everything from what I've read online. And keep in mind, I'm recording 2 to 3 months before I'm releasing now. I like being ahead, because like 3 or 4 weeks ago now, I had to record the same day or the night before a bunch of videos just to kind of get caught up, because that morning's video was going to be the last release. So I'm trying to prevent that now. But anyway, so a few months from now, when you're hearing this, you know, it might be completely different, but they're not releasing a lot of information right now. A Texas Ranger testified that Chris Green, who is Megan's former boyfriend, when they showed him a picture of baby Margot, he said that it looked like the baby in the house that he shared with Heidi. That he shared with Magen. And basically, he said that he wasn't sure that the baby would be safe there with Magen. And he gave the officers the go-ahead. And this is in a video, you know, as it happened, I reckon, if I'm understanding it right. But like I said, I just watched the video today and did some quick research. But he basically said, go get that baby, what are y'all waiting for? His exact words. Officers made entry shortly after 1 p.m. on December 19th. They found Margot Carey, the baby, alive. They later discovered Heidi's body in the trunk of a car parked outside. Boy, that's scary. They found her body either that day or the next day, because there were already news reports on it for the 20th. So a search warrant was not approved until around 8:30 later that evening. But keep in mind that one, that guy gave them permission, and two, in cases of immediate danger like this, they can enter, as well as they should be able to. If you don't want the cops to enter your house without a warrant, don't murder your best friend and kidnap the baby. That's how I see it. I said what I said. They're trying to keep out some of the evidence because of the time difference, which, you know, to quote Emily D. Baker, the lawyers are just doing their job. But also, as a human, I hope that it's not successful. But, I mean, she was, Emily D. Baker was a district attorney for a long time. So she sees both sides. It's the prosecution's job to prove without a reasonable doubt, and it's a defense attorney's job to make them prove that case. And so both are needed. But anyway, also as a human being, it can totally make you sick at your stomach what they're trying to do. Because I've never had a dead body in my car. I'm just saying. And even the one of the attorney generals, one of the prosecution attorneys in the Austin area even said that, you know, it's to be expected. That's the defense's job, to make the prosecution prove their case. sergeant that found the baby and all that testified in court that he believed baby Margot had jaundice, and that it could have been life-threatening, and that was one of the reasons why they waited for a search warrant. Plus, she actively had a baby kidnapped. Go in there and get that baby. I'm not a lawyer, but, you know, and I hate to say it, but in a case like that, I'd rather them destroy the case and save the baby than have an airtight case and the baby died. Preferably, they could still prosecute effectively, but if you had to make the choice, I say save the baby. So, applause for them, is how I see it. Magen Fieramusca, or however it's pronounced, also went by the last name Humphrey, and she was a close friend of Heidi's. I'm not sure how good of a friend she really was, but, you know, she makes you think with friends like that, who needs enemies, you know what I mean? They met while attending the Texas Bible Institute in Columbus, Texas. They spoke regularly on the phone, according to Heidi's boyfriend, Shane Carey. So, that must be the baby's daddy. But, you know, an arrest affidavit gives some information about how they come to suspect Magen, but I'm sure that there'll be more details. Like I said earlier, there's not a lot of details now, but a lot of it will be on public record after the cases went through the legal system, you know, completely. And like I said, this is beginning July when I'm recording this, so when this comes out in October, November, you know, it may have already went through the court system, and there might be a lot more information. The affidavit said Shane Carey, Heidi's boyfriend, was, or they may have been fiance or something, but it was definitely boyfriend, was under the impression that Magen and Heidi had become pregnant at the exact same time in 2019. That's always a red flag. There's been several cases like this now, including a woman that got the federal death penalty, and because if I remember correctly, she cut the mama open and took the baby, and the mama died, of course, and the baby almost died, if I remember correctly, but thankfully it didn't. She pretended to be pregnant. She held her hands on her apparently pregnant stomach. She acted like she needed help getting around. You know how pregnant women walk and have trouble getting up and stuff like that if they sat down and stuff like that. She made it look like she had gained weight and stuff like that. So that made the investigators wonder if Magen had faked her pregnancy. They listed her motive as maternal desire, and that's a thing. Most people don't get to this level, but there's been at least 3 or 4 cases in the last few decades that have been like this. Including one on that show I Survived, which I think was an A&E show. One woman survived because they were going to kill her and take her baby, and she almost died. And I don't remember whether the baby survived or not, but it was just an awful case. So my point is, there's a lot of cases like this, sadly. This is all the information I could really find. But they found the baby in her house, the murdered woman in her car, Heidi's, Megan's boyfriend was like, yeah, that's the baby she brought home and what it looks like. So, doesn't get more airtight than that. So, I hope that they can prove their case effectively and that she spends a long time in prison, preferably forever. But if not, I said it a minute ago and I'll say it again, I'm glad that they saved the baby, even if it ruins their case. If you said to me, which would you rather these policemen do? And I think most people in society would agree with me. Save the 3-week-old, worry about the case later. And I don't think there'll be much of an issue, because, like I said, that's the defense's job, is to make the prosecution's job harder, and it's the prosecution's job to meet that level of proof. But I think that the defense attorney's just doing their job, and the prosecution will do their job, and she will go to jail for a long time, as well as she deserves. But anyway, I hope you have as good of a day as you can have after hearing this story. But hopefully it didn't ruin your day too much. And with that said, I hope you have a halfway decent rest of your day. Sorry if I ruined it. It's hard for me to say have a wonderful rest of your day in a video like this. But hopefully you know where I'm coming from. Okay, bye.